Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for coming. I'm in a little bit of a mood today, so I'm gonna try to calm myself down and not let it come off too much. But there is something on my mind, so I thought I'd make a video. And what that video will be is the topic surrounds knowing yourself, like many of my videos are about. I have lived in many different places in my life. So, when I graduated high school, I'm just getting situated here. When I graduated high school, I was not quite prepared to go to college, and my mom really wanted me to do something that year after, rather than just work and stay in town and stuff. So I was able to make some plans to travel overseas. And a good friend of mine, he made that plan with me, and for about 6 months we traveled abroad. For the first 4 months we were in New Zealand, and I've posted like some clips here and there from my time there, a couple different videos. Also, after those 4 months, we ran out of money in New Zealand and we went to Thailand. And we were there in Thailand for a little less than 2 months, a little over 2 months. So that was a lot of... I saw a very wide range of people and lifestyles and communities in the 6 months there. In the U.S., haven't done as much traveling in the U.S., but as far as New York, where I live goes, I've been pretty far upstate. I've spent a lot of time downstate, like Long Island, New York City area, and I've drawn some conclusions. So what I'm getting at is that, take New Zealand, for example. It seemed as though, and I could be wrong, correct me if you maybe have any information about living in New Zealand and you feel otherwise, but it felt to me as though the people living there, their reputation was not linked really in any way to their wealth or their career. People, if you were a cool person, people liked you. It didn't matter if you were a cashier at the grocery store or if you pumped gas at a gas station. Like, people, I think, judged based on character much less than they do on status and wealth and achievements, things like that. So, and I mainly mean like financial achievements. I think a lot of the time, we might ask, how's so-and-so doing? And we hear that they are, working at a restaurant versus, they have some internship on Wall Street. You know what I mean? There's a difference in the way that hits our ears. And we apply different value to that person depending on like what they're doing. We also apply that same value or worthiness to ourselves. We constantly judge ourselves, and we sort of take inventory, make an assessment of who we are. We do it constantly. Oftentimes we're just referring back to an idea we have of ourselves. Sometimes that idea changes briefly, but then kind of like goes back to this more baseline level of self-understanding. So an example I want to give to kind of highlight the issues that can be caused by this is that if someone believes that they're only so capable of something, the inspiration or motivation to get out of your situation, if you're in a bad situation, you might feel that you're not able, that there's no route, no path to a better life for you. You have this false idea in your mind or concept of yourself that tells you you're not good enough or smart enough, or you don't have the personality to be successful, or like, so these beliefs that we hold really have a huge impact on our lives and our happiness. So something I learned, really it was just a friend, I had a conversation that stuck with me. There was a famous philosopher, I think his last name was Spinoza. I'm kind of talking off of memory here, so bear with me, this might not be fully accurate. But my memory of this conversation from years and years ago was that he had come up with this concept, I think it was called Gero Transcendence, like Gero. I could be way off here again. But essentially the idea was that when we asked a set group of people how they experienced their happiness through life, whether it was, my life used to be really good, but now I'm kind of not as happy and I'm thinking about the good old days. Some people think of their happiness in terms of like happy experiences. So they're like, when they answered the question of how happy they were throughout their lives, they kind of touched on like major moments, but not as much. They didn't experience happiness as like this constant thing, but they went through this sort of highlight reel. And then the people who reported having the most happiness described it more so as like a constant rise, and that the longer they lived, the happier they got. Which was, if you're listening to this, hopefully that's the one that you want to achieve. For me, that's seems like the best way for life to go, is that as time goes on, we just learn to appreciate life more and more, and we become happier and happier. So they asked those people who reported that way, they looked for a common experience or common quality that they all shared. Most of them, or maybe all of them, vast majority of them reported something called a total, or what Spinoza called a total reorientation of the self. So essentially what that means to me is we have these self-concepts that we hold a very strong grip on. We like to think that we know ourselves. And we also like to think that we know other people. So it's interesting, like, well, I'll use myself as an example. There's a video that you probably saw if you're watching this channel that's sort of taken off on my channel. And I've gotten a lot of my subscribers from it. And I wonder what it was about the video, if it was the content, if it was me. And if it was me, clearly some concept was formed by the viewer about who I am. And hopefully what you took away was good things, or, maybe some people make you feel more comfortable than others. Some people just, you naturally kind of relate to them more than others. And that's what's nice about life, is there's a very wide variety, because we all have a wide variety of tastes. But something probably about me, like whether you had some association with the words I was saying, with like something that resonated with you, or maybe it was just my face and my voice. Like, we don't really know why we do the things we do a lot of the time. But chances are you created a concept about who I am. And it's easier to do that than to kind of just sit in this place of uncertainty. If you pay attention, you'll find we don't really like to allow any parts of our lives to be uncertain. So we kind of create a story, or we create a model in our mind, and we refer back to that story or that model to decide like how we feel about something, when that model and the reality of who a person is, or whatever, those are two different things. So when we have these fixed ideas about ourselves, a lot of the time it causes problems for us. It's a limiting belief, and we have we live in a small world in a closed box. And this idea, this total reorientation of the self, which also reported to generally happen due to some type of mystical experience, that could come from a number of different things. Doesn't have to be, specifically, say, psychedelics or meditation, or, you're climbing a mountain and you reach the top and you see the vast landscape and you touch God. You know what I mean? It could come from a bunch of different areas, but this reorientation of the self is taking everything you thought you were and basically not demolishing it, but reorienting the way that you see life. This reorientation, even if it only happens once, plants the idea in a person's mind that they are not what they thought they were. And just this idea alone allows you to let go of that concept, of that persona, and realize, wait, maybe I'm not so sure about who I am. Maybe I didn't know myself as well as I thought, and maybe there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of room to get in touch with myself, to learn how I really see the world and really feel about things. So, I think I'll leave it there. If you resonated with this, if you've experienced this total reorientation of the self, I'd love to hear about it. These are really special stories and moments if we're able to express them. I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to hear about where it happened, because it could be totally random. It could be, you're in the grocery store and it hit you. It doesn't matter. I'd love to know about it. Love some feedback and back and forth with you guys. Tonight, just a quick announcement. I've reached 50 subscribers a few days ago, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you guys. Really means a lot to me that my voice, my face, like I said, whatever it is that's resonating, it just feels good that maybe people want to hear this message or have like-minded thoughts about the things I'm talking about. Now that I have these 50 subs, I'm able to do a live stream. So tonight, we're going to do what I call late night in the Blue Room. It might sort of be like a story time in the Blue Room, but we're going to do that live. And I think I'll mess around and see if it lets me schedule it, maybe around 9 o'clock or so. But I love you guys so much. And always feel free to reach out, like and subscribe, all that. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.